So today we're going to take notes on 1.4. It's the last section we're going to learn before our test on Thursday. So our test will be R9, R10, 1.3, and 1.4. So 1.4 kind of deals with R10 stuff, with our systems of equations. But here we're going to have 3 equations with 3 variables. So our answer is going to be written as an ordered triple now, instead of just an ordered pair. So it'll be written as x, y, then z. So we solve our 3 variable systems of equations similarly to how we did our 2 systems, but it's just a couple extra steps. So it's a little bit more work than just our regular systems, but it's same process. So looking at example 1. We always want to pick one variable to start with first to cancel. So you could pick either the x's, the y's, or the z's. I would look at them first and see which one maybe either has the same coefficient, has a coefficient that's 1, because that'll be easy to change. So looking at this one, which variable do you want to cancel out? We can pick anyone. Sure, let's do x. X looks like it wouldn't be too bad because they're all divisible by 2, so we could multiply each one to kind of get them to cancel. So I'm going to label my equations 1, 2, and 3. To start, I'm going to pick 2 of them and cancel out the x's. So I can pick any 2 of these 3 and get the x's to cancel. Which 2 do you want to pick? So equation 2 and 3? All right, let's work with 2 and 3 first. So we have 2x minus 3y plus 5z is equal to negative 7, and 6x minus y plus 4z is equal to negative 3. Now, what do I have to multiply by which equation to get the x's to cancel? I have to multiply my second equation, so technically my first one here, but equation number 2, by 3 or negative 3, because I have to make it a negative 6 in order to cancel out. So I'm going to multiply this whole equation by negative 3. So everything in this equation gets multiplied by negative 3. I'm going to rewrite the equation right below it. So this is now negative 6x plus 9y minus 15z is equal to positive 21. Now that my x's will cancel, I can combine them together. So my x's cancel. I'm just going to combine the like terms. So negative y plus 9y is what? 8y. 4z minus 15z, negative 11z, and negative 3 plus 21, 18. All right, so we're going to pause here. So now I have one system with 2 variables. I'm going to do the same thing that I just did, where I picked 2 equations, but I want to pick 2 other ones. So I can't pick 2 and 3 again, but I could reuse 2 if I wanted to, or I could reuse 3 if I wanted to. So which 2 equations do you want to pick now? 1 and 2. We still have to cancel out x. So since we picked x to start, we still have to cancel the x's out. So I'm going to pick 1 and 2. So I have 4x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 12, and 2x minus 3y plus 5z is equal to negative 7. What do I have to multiply and by which equation to get something to cancel? I have to multiply equation number 2 by negative 2. Perfect. So multiply everything here by negative 2. That way my x's will cancel. So my new second equation is negative 4x plus 6y minus 10z is equal to positive 14. I'm going to rewrite my first equation just right and below it, I guess. I'll put it right down here. So 4x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 12. I just like to write them right on top of each other to make it easier to combine them so I don't get confused. So my x's cancel. Perfect, that was the goal. Now combine the y's, so it's 6y plus 2y. 8y. What's negative 10z plus 3z? Negative 7z. And 14 plus 12? 26. All right, so once I did that step twice, I have to combine two equations and then combine another two. Now I have two equations with two variables. So I'm going to combine these two together. So I'm going to write them right on top of each other. I have 8y minus 11z is equal to 18, and 8y minus 7z is equal to 26. Now, once I'm here, this looks exactly like how we did in R10. I have two equations with two variables. So I'm just going to solve it exactly like I did in R10. So how do I get one of these variables to cancel? Which one do you want to cancel out, the y's or the z's? The y's, because they're already the same coefficient, but what do they also need to be? Negative. One needs to be negative. So what do I need to do to make one of them negative? Times it by -1. So I'm going to flip the sign of everything in my first equation. So I just picked the first one to be negative. If I wanted to pick the second one, just flip the sign of everything in the second equation.
Are we adding them?
Now I'm going to add them. So I have to make the first equation, I have to multiply it by -1 to make the 8y negative to get them to cancel.
Doesn't matter which one you do.
Doesn't matter which one you do. If you wanted to multiply the second one by -1, that's fine. All right, so now my y's cancel. 11z minus 7z would be 4z. And negative 18 plus 26 is what? 8. And then what's the last step? Divide both sides by 4. So we get z is equal to 2. Perfect. So that's one of our answers. So here we have x, y, and z. So I'm going to have 3 answers. How do you think I could find another variable? Plug in z. What can I plug z into? Which equation? I got a lot of them on here. If I plugged it into 1, the original, I'm plugging into z, but I'm still missing x and y. So I can't plug it into one of the first 3 yet. But do I have an equation that only has 2 variables? Yeah, I could plug it into one of these, one of the orange ones here. So I can't jump all the way back to the original 3. I have to just go halfway back first, because here I have an equation with 2 variables. So this way I can just solve for the other one. So I have 8y minus 11z, which z we said was 2. So 11 times 2 is equal to 18. So what should I do first to solve for y from here? Multiply negative 11 times 2 would be negative 22. So 8y minus 22 is equal to 18. What can I do next? Add 22 on both sides. So 8y is equal to 40. And then last, divide by 8. So y is equal to 5. All right, so there's another answer. Now that I have y and z, how can I find x? Now I can plug it into one of the original equations. So it doesn't matter. I could plug it into 1, 2, and 3. Just like we did before, I would always say look at the numbers and pick one that looks the easiest. I'm going to plug it into 2. So I have 2x minus 3y, which y we said was 5, plus 5z, and z we said was 2. So 5 times 2 is equal to negative 7. So I'm taking y and plugging it into equation 2. And I'm taking z and plugging it into equation 2. So I'm plugging them both. And then from here, we're just going to solve for x. So I have 2x minus 15 plus 10 is equal to negative 7. What can I do next? Combine like terms. So 2x, I have negative 15 plus 10. They're on the same side, so I don't change the signs. This would be negative 5 is equal to negative 7. What's next? Move the 5 to the other side, so I add 5 to both sides. So 2x is equal to negative 2. And then lastly, we divide by 2. So what's x equal to? Negative 1. And then the very, very last step is we just have to write our answer. So it's always x, then y, then z. So x is negative 1, y is 5, and z is 2. So this would be our answer. So the difference between the 3 systems and the 2 systems is we have to do this step twice, where we combine 2 equations first. So you have to do this twice.
In what order does the answer go?
X, Y, Z. So you have to do this step twice, where you combine 2 equations and then combine another 2. All right, so let's look at the next page. So we have to pick a variable and stick with that one to cancel out first. So which variable here do you think would be the easiest to get to cancel? We can pick y. That works. So it doesn't matter which one. No matter which one you pick, if you do the steps right, you'll end up with the same answer. But you just have to pick one and stick with that one for the first 2 steps. So I'm going to label my equations 1, 2, and 3. And then I need to pick 2 to start. So which 2 do we want to pick with to get the y's to cancel? 1 and 3. Awesome. So I have 6x plus 8y minus 6z is equal to 62. And equation 3 is 12x minus 8y, bless you, plus 20z is equal to negative 68. So now we just combine our like terms, because do our y's cancel out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't even need to multiply them by anything. We're just going to combine our like terms because they already cancel. So 6x plus 12x is what? 18x. Negative 6z plus 20z? 14z. And 62 minus 68? Negative 6. All right, so we have one equation here. We're going to stop and go back to our original 2 and do that step again. So we're going to pick 1 and 2. So 1 is 6x plus 8y minus 6z is equal to 62. And 2 is 10x minus 12y minus 14 is z is equal to 14. All right, so we need the y's to cancel. Since we picked y's to start, we have to stick with the y's to cancel out. What can I multiply here to get my y's to cancel? Well, 8's already positive and 12 is negative, so they're already opposite signs. So we can multiply, you said 8 times 3, and that would give us 24. And we can multiply 12 times 2, which would give us negative 24. Perfect. So it's not always that you are multiplying to get whatever 8 times 12 is. Find what they have in common, what they both would divide into. Yes, I have to multiply everything in both equations. So the whole first equation gets multiplied by 3, and the whole second equation gets multiplied by 2. I'm going to write them down below here. So 6x times 3 would be 18x plus 24y minus 18z is equal to 62 times 3. which would be 186. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my second equation, but we said we have to multiply that times 2. So I have 20x minus 24y minus 28z is equal to 14 times 3, which would be, oops, yes, you are right. 14 times 2. This should be a 2. So it should be equal to 28. Good catch. So now will my y's cancel? Yes. So let's combine our like terms. 18x plus 20x would be 38x. Negative 18z minus 28z is what?
46.
Negative 46z. And then 186 plus 28. 214. So now I have two equations with two variables. So I'm going to combine these two together. So I'm going to write them right on top of each other so we can see. 18x plus 14z is equal to negative 6, and 38x minus 46z is equal to 214. Well, let's see. Let's divide and make these numbers a little bit smaller for us. What number goes into both 18, 14, and 6? 2. So I'm going to divide all of this by 2. So this would become 9x plus 7z is equal to negative 3. And then we can divide the other equation also. It's divisible by 2. So this would be 19x minus 23z is equal to 107. All right, what's next? We want to get what to cancel? Either the x's or the z's. Pick one.
Could you
I'm going to say let's get the z's to cancel since they're opposites. But I need them to be the same coefficient. So what can I do to get them to be the same coefficient?
Multiply 7 by 7, or negative 7, and then 23 by 2.
23 times 2 would be 46. So that's not, if we can't figure out which one, we could always just multiply the first equation by, I'll multiply 7 by 23 and 23 by 7. It's not ideal because the numbers will be really big, but it works because we know that'll give us the same. So let's see, what's 9 times 23?
207.
So 207x plus what's 7 times 23?
161.
161. So 161z is equal to, what's negative 3 times 23? Negative 69. And then what's 19 times 7? 133. And then negative 23 times 7 would be negative 161z. And 107 times 7? 749. All right, now our z's cancel. Let's combine the x's. So this would give me 340x we should get 680. What should I do next to solve for x? Divide by 340. So x is equal to 2. Yay, so we got an answer. How can I find another variable?
By plugging in the two equations.
Which equation?
The ones with two. Would it be the one with two variables? Could you plug it into the smaller one, or does it have to be the bigger one?
We can plug it into either this one, one of these two. We can plug it into any equation with two variables. We can plug it into the big one, but we probably wouldn't want to plug it into the ones that we multiplied by. So I'm going to plug it into one of the smaller ones here. So I have 9 times 2 plus 7z is equal to negative 3. First, I have to multiply, so 18 plus 7z is equal to negative 3. Subtract 18 on both sides. So 7z is equal to negative 21. Divide both sides by 7. So what does z equal? Negative 3. So now we have 2 answers. How can I find the third?
Plug it into the top three.
I have to plug both of them into one of the top ones. So I'm going to pick probably 1. The numbers look the smallest in 1. So I have 6x, so 6 times 2, plus 8y. I don't know what y is yet, so I'm just going to leave it as 8y, minus 6 times z, which is negative 3, is equal to 62. So first I want to multiply. So 6 times 2 would be 12, plus 8y. Negative 6 times negative 3 would be plus 18, is equal to 62. What can I do next?
You said five, like
18 and 12. I'm going to add them together. So 12 plus 18 would be 30. And then what?
Divide by
Subtract 30. So 8y is equal to 32. Divide both sides by 8. So y is equal to 4. So I have to write my answer as a coordinate pair, as a coordinate triple, because I have 3 of them. So it's always x, then y, then z. So 2, 4, negative 3. It is super, super, super important with these questions that you stay organized. We did a lot of work for just one question. So a little mistake somewhere could throw off your whole answer. So it's super important that you stay organized. I'm pretty sure for the homework, Miss Fernandez made it, but she left the answers on it. So your homework is all the work. You can't just do these in your head. You have to show your work. So the answers are there for you to check your work, but you have to show your work. Let's do one more. All right, so on the next page, we have B. So we have to pick a variable and stick with that to cancel. Which variable do you want to cancel out first here? Y. Y is an excellent choice because they all already have the same coefficient. So it'll make our lives a little bit easier. So I'm going to label them 1, 2, and 3. Which 2 do I want to combine first? 1 and 3. Perfect. So 1 and 3. It doesn't matter which variable you pick. Some of them will be less work than others, depending on how you start. But you'll end up with the same answer if you do the right steps. So we picked 1 and 3. So do I have to multiply one of my equations by something to get the y's to cancel? Nope. I already have a negative 2y and a positive 2y, so they already cancel off right off the bat. Perfect. Now let's combine our like terms. What's x minus x? 0. They cancel out too. Even better. What is z plus 4z? 5z. And what is negative 11 minus 9? Negative 20. Here we got lucky that 2 of our variables cancel. I only have 1 variable, so can I solve? Yeah. How do I solve for z? Divide both sides by 5. So what does z equal? Negative 4. So that's one of our answers. I still cannot plug this into an original equation though, because I only have 1 variable and I need 2 if I'm going to plug it into the original. Because I can't have 3 variables and only know 2 of them. I can't solve for 2 variables at once. So I have to find another. So I have to do this step twice where I combine 2 of them. So which 2 equations do we want to combine next? 1 and 2. So I have x minus 2y plus z is equal to negative 11, and 3x plus 2y minus z is equal to 7. We combine. Do my y's cancel? Yep, perfect. Don't even need to multiply by anything because they cancel right away.
It has to be y, right?
We picked y to start, so it has to be y. So whatever variable you pick to start, you have to start by canceling that out twice.
So could it be x?
No. I mean, technically, because here x is canceled, you could have canceled out x's again. But then you would have technically picked x to cancel. So just stick with 1 variable, pick that one to cancel out twice. So I have 4x. My z's cancel here. Awesome. Is equal to, what's negative 11 plus 7? Negative 4. Can I solve for x here? Yep, divide both sides by 4. So x is equal to? Negative 1. So here we got super lucky that we just so happened to be able to solve twice. Now that I have 2 answers, what can I do? I can plug it into the original. So I didn't even need to combine these 2 equations together because my variables ended up canceling. So I can just take my 2 answers and plug it into an original equation. Which equation do you want to use?
1.
Sure, let's use 1. Doesn't matter, we can use any of the 3. So I know what x is. That's negative 1 minus 2 times y. We don't know y yet. Plus negative 4, so that would be a minus 4, is equal to negative 11. How do I solve for y? Before I do that. So I combine my like terms. So I have negative 2y minus 5 is equal to negative 11. Then what can I do? Add 5 to both sides. So negative 2y is equal to negative 6. And then lastly, divide by negative 2. So y is equal to? Positive 3. So here, how would I write my answer? Awesome. Negative 1, comma 3, comma negative 4. Be very, very careful with your signs and everything. Because even if I plugged in a positive 1, that would give me a totally different answer. So be very, very careful with solving, with your signs. It's super important to be organized for these.